All right, World Cup is over. Let's talk some final thoughts. My name's Greg, and you're watching How to Play Paintball. So as usual, I'm gonna go ahead and go through the good, the bad, the ugly, all of that with World Cup, and kind of give my final thoughts on, I guess, the season as a whole. All right, so first things first, great is the venue. I am only about an hour drive away, so selfishly, I'm cool with that. So me being able to get there quickly and it not be, flying all over the place was definitely a plus for me. I know that there were some people that had issues with getting out because of the shutdown and all that stuff. So flight might have been delayed a little bit. I know some people were okay, others weren't. Unfortunately, there's nothing that the league can do about that. But like I've mentioned before, the great thing with World Cup is that you have Orlando International Airport right down the street. And you also have Tampa about an hour and a half-ish away. So you have a couple options. And then also, I guess there would be, Sanford? So there's a smaller one you can get to. So you have a couple different options of where you can get the best price from. So although I'm not a huge fan of the cold, having just good weather, like 60s and 70s. Sorry for my international. I'm not sure what that is in Celsius. What would that be, like 20 something? So it was beautiful. Like to be able to go and play in that weather is great. Walking around when it's 40 degrees, 50 degrees is not exactly fun. But when you're actually playing, there is something good about not being like, for me, I just get drenched in sweat just because that's just how I am. So not having that is definitely a plus. Something else I would say was pretty good was the reffing. I'm gonna get into an issue that I had with the 10-man, but for semi-pro and for pro, of course on the pro field, it's usually gonna be pretty great because that's the best refs that they have. And for semi-pro, they try to have, basically a step down in terms of experience for the refs, and they get promoted up is my understanding. So the reffing itself I felt was pretty good for this event. But don't worry, there is something I kind of have a little issue with, but they were able to correct it. Another great thing about World Cup is because it's so close to Disney and Universal and other theme parks and all of that, there's a whole bunch of Airbnbs and rental properties that you're able to go to. And I mean, the one that we stayed at, I think you could fit like 18 people or 15 to 18 people. So being able to have everyone in the same house is always a plus. Being able to have it where, you can all be together. You don't have to have different hotel rooms and all of that. It's definitely helpful, one, for your wallet, because it's usually going to be a little bit cheaper when you can split it 15 ways. But also, it's just good for the team to be able to have that time together. So for some of the bad, like I mentioned, when I was playing 10-man on Sunday, I did have an issue where 2 times I got pulled out on rub, and I had to go over to the ultimate ref and just say, like, look, this is rub. Like, this is not, I'm not trying to be that guy, but this is now the second time I've been pulled out. First time, I got bounced in the head, but I can't, my eyeballs don't go up there. So I had to go, hey, am I hit? And he said, no, you're hit on your loader. And I walk out because they called me out. And then I looked, I'm like, that's all completely rub. It didn't even have the shape or anything. And it was like, okay, come on, guys. And then the second time that it happened, they said I was hit. And I tried to give them the benefit of the doubt because I was like, okay, is there something maybe in my pack? But no, they said it was my loader, and is again very much rub. It was not even really in the shape of, when a paintball hits, there's a certain shape to it. It wasn't the best, but I want to give credit where credit's due, because as I went on and played more throughout the day, even on that same field, because 10-man, they move you around, I didn't have issues later on. So I do want to give credit where credit's due. Maybe it was a newer ref. Maybe it was someone, I get it, it's Sunday. They've been getting up super early and having to deal with paintball players all weekend. Definitely not the most fun. So I get that it just could have been I'm tired and it's a difficult situation. I have to be fair, but also this is important. Like, if you're putting in money and you're putting in time to go and compete, you want to make sure that the reffing is going to be the best that it can. So although I got pulled twice and I got that minor for, again, it was nothing, I do want to give credit to the reffing staff for at least listening. That would be something I would say to you guys. Like, I didn't go up screaming at them. I walked up and said, look, can this is the second time I've been pulled out on rub. Can you please talk to this other Dorito side over here and just, you know, kind of figure things out? And you know, the ultimate ref was like, yes, he spoke with the head ref that was there, and they made sure to correct the issue. Other than that, I don't think that there was really a whole lot of bad. I do have something for ugly though. So definitely an ugly was the fact that some of the playing conditions were not good. On the HK field, that one was pretty good. That's when they turned into 10-man. But on Lone Wolf for the semi-pro, there was like mountains basically in there, and it like trenches and just things that were not going to be good for playing conditions. Like there was one point that my coach said, hey, I want you to dive to the Dorito 2. And I said, can I stop here? Because there's a huge sand pit there. I didn't want to dive in and you know, it's going to be very hard to slide on there, and I don't want to hurt myself. Okay, if it was the finals, I guess, or like a really, like that's the only move, then okay, I guess I'd make it happen. But it really shouldn't be that you have to worry about those kinds of conditions when you play in the NXL. I can understand if you're at a very small local league that just the field doesn't have the time and energy to be able to, or the funding to be able to put into, you know, making sure it's perfectly flat, or, you know, rolling out turf or whatever. It's very difficult for the NXL to bring turf everywhere. It's very expensive to do that. So I don't want to knock them for that, but the fact that when we're walking out and we were just like, oh my goodness, like this is not good. And then on other fields, I think there were some other issues where it was kind of like little divots and things. So just to make sure that the league is looking out for those conditions, because you don't want it to be that you end up diving and hurting yourself. So although we didn't finish the way that we wanted to, it was ultimately a good event. I felt like everything else was pretty smoothly run. There was a whole lot of just good weather and good vibes. It was great meeting people, being able to see people that I don't see on a regular basis. So that was definitely cool. And being able to step back on the pro field was definitely a cool thing. Yeah, I mean, it's an event that World Cup is always going to be a good one. I have heard a rumor that it's not going to be back at that location. I think it's still going to be in Florida. But maybe that's why they didn't put the effort into really leveling everything out, because if we're not going to be going back there, then there's no point in putting in money for stuff that ultimately, I believe it's just like a cow pasture usually. So it's just for grazing. So the cows don't care if there's a little divot or a little bit of dirt. They're totally fine with that. They're not running and diving. Although that would be really funny to see a cow with a paintball mask. I want to give credit to Jungle Cats for, you know, or congrats to the Jungle Cats for getting the pro spot. To Damage for winning Cup, for Paintball Fit going and winning the Pro Series. It's really incredible for them to go from them taking that ACE Dallas spot and getting relegated to then winning, World Cup in their first pro season back. And then for them to go and win the series is really incredible. So credit to Paintball Fit. I appreciate all their support. You know, Hydra does a lot of really cool things. The whole Lukow family is really great, and just love paintball. But it's really, really cool to see a shakeup. It's not always fun to see the same people win all the time. So to come out and now have another high-end competitor out there. I mean, Dynasty didn't even make it out of prelims this event. So shakeups are a really, really good thing. But yeah, put in the comments down below, what is it that was your favorite or least favorite thing? So thank you again, everyone, for coming along with me. And as always, remember, watch, learn, win. Thanks.